historian.
Hi there everyone, Steve the Amateur Historian here with another episode of Googling America. Just out for a little stroll, enjoying a sunny day in December, which those are few and far between where I live, up in Portland, Oregon. That's one of the things, if you've seen any of these episodes, that you know I love about doing Googling America. I'm certainly no expert on these places I look at. They're merely places that attracted my attention, places of intrigue to me, most of the time because of their blighted or sometimes completely destroyed states. And that's very representative for the video that I've got for you today. Now, this place I originally saw on a really great YouTube channel called Urbex Stain. It's this guy that mostly ventures around the Cleveland area. And that was where I first saw the spot. And the moment I saw a video he produced on it, I knew I had to do a video like this because I was already inspired to go check out this spot for myself. But being in Cleveland, over 2,000 miles away, I knew I wasn't going to see it in person anytime soon. And so I went online, took a bunch of stills of this area from Google Earth, and it's just this abandoned couple of block stretch of these old tall brick apartments, and they're all completely battered and abandoned, and according to the people that have explored there, very dangerous. You never really know who might be loitering in these buildings. It's known in a lot of rough neighborhoods where there's lots of abandoned buildings that people don't really go into. Those have been transformed into drug houses and things like that. I know Dan Bell discovered that the hard way with a video of his a few years ago where he got trapped in what he thought was an abandoned house, but there was really druggies using it. And on the subject of Dan Bell, literally within a week of my seeing the Urbex Stain videos, taking these images of this stretch of abandoned apartments, Dan Bell did a video at that same site, almost perfectly in sync with when I started looking it up. So this place is definitely attractive to your lover of urban exploration, and it's just astonishing to go all these several blocks, and you can tell that this area has been abandoned for a very long time. You've got the thick, tall grass, there's trash everywhere, and just the level of decay on this stretch, and it's just right straight through, and everything correlates so well in terms of the level of decay. It's not like you go to one end and it's super decayed, like it's been abandoned for 20 years, and then you go to the other side and it's like there's still one or two places that people are living in, and a few that have been closed down for a while. It all has just been completely abandoned and left to the elements, left to whoever wants to do anything about it. I don't know who controls this property, if anybody really anymore. I know up here in Portland there's never abandoned properties. It's always being owned by someone. If someone wants to get rid of it, they'll sell it. Nobody ever abandons properties up here, but you go to other major American cities where there's more economic strife. Maybe the industry that made the city huge has dwindled. Be what it may, it causes mass increase in vacated properties, and a lot of these properties just get completely abandoned. If they belong to somebody, that person may not even know they still own this area. So, and the backstory behind these apartments, which I've also referred to it as the Chapman apartments. I don't think that's the name for all of them, but I know there's a street one of the streets that goes through there, I think is called Chapman Street or Chapman Avenue. And the information I was able to find is very spotty. There's not really a whole lot. All I was really able to gather was there was some big fire in the area, probably back in the 1990s. And I don't know how much that damaged the neighborhood or how much of an effect that had in terms of the overall reason why this place ended up becoming totally vacated. But that's all I've really been able to find. I don't know how much of the fire was just in this area where these abandoned apartments are. They're so blighted. There's places where there may have been fire damage and you just don't know. So the backstory is vague, if I can put it that way. And it was just wild to go from one end to another. And, when I see an area as blighted as that, my ears prick up, but there's still the realization of what this place represents and how you see something like this, in a big city, and it's like representative of so many other things in that area. The economic strife, the poverty. When I was Googling this area, I started straying away to other nearby streets just to see how many more vacated or abandoned buildings were in the area, if this was just kind of an isolated area. And there's a lot more abandoned houses in that area all over the place. So this is not an isolated area, and it's just a massive representation, a several block wide representation of the way things are right now in Cleveland, East Cleveland. I'm not from the area. I know as an outsider in general, things haven't been great in Cleveland in recent years. But aside from that, that's where my real solid knowledge of that area ends. But I can go on Google and look and see the vacated properties and see, without having to know too much, hey, this is a city with major problems. Are those problems going to not necessarily get solved, but are things going to improve? Are things going to get better, or are they just going to continue downhill? You never know in this country. But anyway, as I'm coming up to a busy intersection, and it's probably getting harder for you to hear my voice, I'm going to wrap this episode of Googling America. I just thought this was a really crazy, cool, interesting spot that a lot of people who do urban exploration again know and recognize. So it seemed like the right thing to do, But anyway, guys, till next time, thanks for watching. And this has been Steve the Amateur Historian with another episode of Googling America.